And I think that was always how luxury was built. It's kind of, it's luxury because you can't quite reach it. And I don't think that's the case anymore.
Liberation luxury. And this has started to look at this idea of how we're beginning to see our luxury consumer untether themselves from the traditional markers of luxury and start to live really what you could classify as a far more unconventional lifestyle and far more unconventional approaches to luxury, challenging, I think, what it means to work, play and travel within the luxury sector.
But people say, oh, you shouldn't do that. You've got to be more modern. You've got to be different. You've got to sort of do all these things really differently. Don't rely on cliches. Well, why not? Okay, when you're selling Britain abroad, it's really useful.
And that's this really amazing paradox that we want luxury brands to, in some ways, conform to a language, yet also be completely different by themselves.
We've moved more from this enrich and surprise and delight to edutainment, which seems to be the new word, where we need to create content that both enriches and educates as well as entertains.
Our values are associated with mental health as well as art, the artisan craftsmanship, and these are the talking points that we communicate on regularly, as well as 50 years of heritage.
Reach is certainly not a metric that we should be focusing on, and increasingly Facebook, are trialing the hiding of likes, and we expect therefore measurement to be an evolving piece.
And influencer marketing has an added benefit over some of the other advertising channels through its immediacy, through being fleet of foot, through being relatable, and in comparative with other channels, being cheap.
Having that trust with your followers just makes all the world a difference, and you know that if they trust you, they're going to then buy the products.
Brands need to start thinking about not just their justification, about what they are and what they represent and why they should exist, but fundamentally they've got to start thinking about what matters more to their consumer.
I think fundamentally it begins with listening to the consumer much more than it ever did before. There's a great anecdote that I always think about when trying to kind of grow businesses digitally, which is if you go to a dinner party and only talk about yourself, you don't make any friends.
What was interesting around Black Lives Matter is that there were quite a few missteps, either sort of carelessly or well-intentioned. And I think with a subject matter as important, fundamentally important and as sensitive as that, you have to start by looking inside at your own organization.
I often liken it to digital paper dolls, the version of life where we were styling. And essentially you enter into two types of challenges at this stage. It's a photo shoot or a mood board. You cast your model, you cast your background, you cast your makeup, you choose the fashion and accessories.
It helps to think of digital not just as a channel, and that actually it's a means of reimagining sort of previous ways of communicating with consumers and how you create those flawless on and offline experiences.
With consumers going out less and potentially interacting with brands, at least in the physical space, slightly less. You really need to make them feel like they've made the right choice when they decide to give you their time and their energy and ideally their wallet.
A Princess customer starts and they might be with us and we might be talking to them about their next boat for as long as 5 years. That customer will keep coming to that boat show, we'll keep having that conversation, we'll come down and have a look at another boat.
In 2008, Chinese spend accounted for around 12% of purchases in the global personal luxury market.
Britishness really appeals and sells in China today.
By next year, it is predicted that social commerce will account for at least a fifth of all online sales in China, a staggering $180 billion US.
We definitely got very good at storytelling against all our core values, which definitely resonated. So there's definitely a trend coming up in the younger audience in China of craftsmanship and sustainability, which we're really well placed to meet because that's us at our very heart.
Luxury is always going to be about desire, about status, scarcity, defined by really the high symbolic value that it represents in the lives of the fortunate few who get to own and experience it, and for the many who aspire to do so.
It's not the Brit who are buying British luxury. And I think, you know, it's everyone across the globe, and especially, I think, you know, from the East as well.
Where much of the luxury appeal of luxury has always been in kind of the craftsmanship and how something was made and the kind of handwork and the thought. I think that now there's more of a call to engage from readers and advertisers and everybody, but more of a call to engage with, you know, why and how you're buying something.